looking at the Detroit Pistons, though, I'm very curious in what you're saying about Detroit, just because of some of the conversations we've had about a certain player getting a very large contract, but then some of the other smaller moves that they've made as well. Detroit, what are you giving them?
Um, the $52 million for Tobias Harris is whatever.
Hmm.
You have to pay the small city, small market tax to bring a player like Harris in.
Hmm.
It was always going to be an overpay for him to go to a place like Detroit. So I don't hurt them for that.
Yeah.
Um, the Wendell Moore trade is, frankly, the future of the Detroit Pistons relies on Cade becoming a max level player.
Yeah.
And we've seen this before. Michael Porter Jr.'s gotten a massive extension with the Nuggets. He's not at that potential. De'Aaron Fox got a massive extension with the Kings, and he was not the De'Aaron Fox we have today. He's developed into that.
Yeah.
Cade has all the talent in the world to develop into it. And I know I texted you, I'm like, that much money for Cade is freaking wild. But these are the rookie level extensions. Again, it's not some masterful negotiating by Cade and his agent. It's literally like, okay, this is the extension. Here you go, sign. It's like
Yep.
with the draft pick slots now in most of these leagues is this is what you make, sign it. And that's kind of, what are you going to do? Trade Cade? His trade value isn't, you're not going to get a ton. I mean, you'll get some, but you're not going to get a ton for him at this point in his career. So it's just kind of this is Detroit Pistons offseason is like vanilla ice cream. Like everybody likes ice cream, but vanilla is like it's boring. So I don't know if you noticed, I haven't given a grade on any of these. I'm just providing context to it.
Hmm.
But I know you love Cade. That's
I
cool.
do.
If he develops, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome for them. But I just feel like, Detroit right now, it seems like basketball hell. You got Cade, he's a $215 million player, and you won 14 games last year. Like, congratulations. Every team has a top scorer.
This contract didn't look as bad as it did until like Tyrese Maxey signed his contract. Then I was like, damn. I'm like, shit. I'm like, now that doesn't look good. I'm like, damn. I'm like, I don't like that very much now. I like it still just because it's Cade and I'm a big Cade guy. But overall, I gave them a B minus because of how much I like Cade. Acquiring Tim Hardaway Jr., trading away Quentin Grimes. I think I gave both teams the same like grade, letter grade, number grade that I give out for every single one of the acquisitions for both the Dallas Mavericks and the Detroit Pistons, because I think Tim Hardaway he needs to change the scenery, and Detroit might be that place, or it's purgatory just like for everyone else. The Wendell Moore trade is pretty much non-factor to me. The real prize there was the second round pick that was gotten. The rest of it doesn't really matter. And Tobias Harris, like you said, having to pay a little bit of that tax, but I think it's an overhated player because Philly can't appreciate anything that they ever have. I understand some of the hate that Tobias got, but Tobias Harris was getting that hate when he was putting up better numbers than what he put up last year, with 17.2 points per game on 35.3 3-point percentage, along with 6.5 rebounds, 3.1 assists, and a steal per game. So
I like Tobias.
I do too.
But this is him just signing his career away in Detroit. This is shades of Kyle Kuzma going and signing with the Wizards because he wanted to be the guy. And now it's like, well, bro, you ain't the guy. You're Kyle Kuzma. Like, this is the same thing. Like the Detroit Pistons add $41 million in salary by trading for Tim Hardaway, who couldn't make the floor in the playoffs, and Tobias Harris, who's cool, but he's 32 and is not the piece that's going to take the Pistons back. After that, the casual NBA fan, do you know who Isaiah Stewart is? I know who Jaden Ivey is because I wanted the Kings to draft Jaden Ivey bad. And Jaden Ivey in his young career so far has had times where he's been bad. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where they got some guy named Marcus Sasser on their team. I mean, they got a bunch of players that are 23, and then they got Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway Jr. That's all you need to know about the Detroit Pistons. And Cade.
Yeah. So I think the change here is the coaching change, who is going to move in and what is going to happen with this offense, because there was a lot of kind of push and pull on who's going to be starting in that lineup. And the coach wanted it one way, the front office wanted it another way. Nobody could agree with anything, so no one could drop schemes of how they wanted. So I'm curious in how it all transpires. Again, the big highlight for me in this one is Cade. That kind of what saves all of it. 22.7 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 7.5 assists. So when I tell you that, when I told you, I'm like, you got to surround him with additional talent. All I meant was like to be like a bona fide de facto double player. To me, Cade screams in like less than 3 years, like leading the league in assists, like 10 assists a game. He's like a bona fide 24-10 guy to me. But you have to surround him with the guys with that.
You know what Cade screams in less than 3 years? Trade me.
Yeah, it might be.
That's the only thing Cade's going to be screaming in less than 3 years. They win 14 games next year. It's cool to get paid. It's cool to get paid, but after you get paid, you want to win. All right, now I got the bag. Now I got to win. Nobody wants to spend their life winning less than 20 games a year, especially these young players. All they ever did was win. All Cade Cunningham has ever done in his life is win basketball games.
Dominant.
And all of a sudden, he's in basketball hell, and it's Detroit. I know people are going to laugh at me. Oh, you live in Sacramento. The only people that talk shit about Sacramento has never been here.
It's true.
You know, it's fantastic in Sacramento. Lake Tahoe is an hour away from my house. The Bay Area is an hour and a half away from my house. Oh, Sacramento, you're an hour from everything. Well, it's great. What are you an hour away from in Detroit? I'm just saying. There's a reason why people continue to go to LA, why they continue to go to New York. You know, even the Golden State Warriors, you guys are not a free agency destination. You guys got Kevin Durant one time, but outside of that, everything's been homegrown. Shout out to you guys. Homegrown. That's awesome. Trading for players, but nobody wants to live in San Francisco.
Yep. Absolutely.